Kendall and Pruitt, please come to the announcer stand, please. Kendall and Paul. Paul. Morning, everybody. We're about ready to start our show. Before we do that, we're going to go ahead and have grace by Pastor Paul Theis with St. John's Lutheran Church in Marion. And then we'll have our national anthem immediately following by Kendall Pruitt. She's a sophomore at Navarro High School. Everybody, please bow your heads.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks for this earth, which you have brought into being. We give you thanks for every hand involved in the work of agriculture who make today possible. Especially we lift up the organizers of this show, the breeders who first brought each piglet into the world, each of the youth who have raised these piglets. We give you thanks for their family, friends, neighbors, and especially their ag teachers who support them. And we give you thanks for the judge who is willing to share his time and talent today. Help us remember, O God, that it takes a village to raise one child, a network of hands and talents to raise one pig. And we give you thanks that you continue to provide for each child and animal here today out of your abundant love for the world. In Jesus' name, we lift this prayer. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We are ready to start our show today. I welcome each and every one of you here. We're going to start with our Berks this morning, Berkshire breed. Our first class of pigs should be on their way into here. First class will have 9 entries. We're placing 7 of them. I want to introduce our judge to you today. His name is Quest Newberry. He grew up in George West, Texas, and exhibited livestock at the county and state level. He attended Blinn College and Texas A&M University. He is currently instructor and livestock judging coach at Blinn College. He also operates Q&A show pigs with his girlfriend. Let's welcome my judge, Quest Newberry. Assisting in the ring this morning, passing out our ribbons, will be none other than Rayleigh Childs. She's the Guadalupe County Miss Rodeo Princess. Thank you for your participation this morning. Also, in each class today, we will have a bump check if the pig was purchased from one of the Seguin swine breeders. It's $100. The highest placing pig in each class will receive that check. The Seguin swine breeders are made up of these following breeders: Real Hog Farm, Kelso Genetics, Marshall Stry, Robert Hebner, Daggy Show Pigs, St. Hedwig Feeds, Phi Show Pigs, Alderson Farms, 4L Show Pigs, Schultz Show Pigs, Empty Heart Livestock, BC Show Pigs, Bubba Eckhart, Beck Show Pigs, and James Langemeyer. Thank you to these gentlemen. They do a great job every year and put out quite a bit of cash to these winners. All exhibitors, please note that you must have a picture made with your placing animal before the end of the show today, preferably on the way out. That way, you will have it on before you get back in the barn, not have to return over here. But you must have a picture made if you're going to sell your project.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be back, and really looking forward to work through the hog show this morning. And in complete honesty, I was so excited when I got out of my truck in the parking lot. I forgot to put it in park, and it rolled on me a little bit. And so to say I was excited would be an understatement. And I'm glad everything worked out just fine there this morning. But with that being said, since last year, I've been looking forward to coming back and working through the hogs and working with the young people here within the county. In our first class of the day, in most lightweight market hog settings, as we worked through 5 through 9, there was plenty of give and take, and I had to make some calls on where I wanted to sit on freshness, structural integrity, and just the way they were put together. And so I thought there was some close calls down the line. To talk our top 5 in this particular lineup, the young man's bear on the far side comes in, and I think at the minute he hit the gate over there, I knew this was going to be a tough one to beat. He honestly just fits my process pretty well. He's an opened up, stout featured bear who's awesome into the shape of his center body. I love when you get up high and you study from blade to hip, his show day presentation, and the hair and hair and skin quality is very, very good. He's a big rump hog who's still square in his hock and still proportions good from the side. Long story short, I thought that hog was very nice in this particular lineup. 2 and 3, depending on how you like them, you could do some different things with them. As we study the drive, our gilt here in second always has the advantage in being just a bit bolder and just a bit better in terms of the shape of her center body. She might have just a shot more cover on her than does our third place gilt. But when we get down to it, I personally felt just a bit more comfortable in the way this gilt gets out and travels out of her hip and rear skeleton. And I do think if we could open her up through her chest, she would make that even an easier decision for me. I like how she represents a bold-made, productive type of hog here in our first class of the morning. There's a lot of things I like about the gilt here in third. She's a tall-fronted, extended, really shapely individual. She's a late maturing type of hog who's high cutability, and I like those things about her. With that, out here today, of the top 3, I read her just a bit tighter and harder there in terms of her forerib. I don't see the same shape in her upper rib and just through her center body. And then also, I can make excuses for a couple of those areas if we can make her just a little bit longer reaching out of her hip and the way she plants her rear skeleton. I love her front 2/3, and I like how she reads to be a market hog that can continue to a heavier weight and still have the right kind of compositional correctness. A nice hog there to go ahead and be in 3. Coming out in 4, I thought this hog's structure and the way she just maintained flexibility was my favorite of the remainder of the class. A long-reaching, sound structure type of hog who, whenever you study her, she's very good in the way she plants and pushes, and I think this hog could honestly drive all day. With that, of our top end of this class, I wish we could shape her up just a shot more in terms of her muscle down her top side. Wish we could open her up just a shot, but I did think as we went throughout that top 4, that one's skeleton was very, very nice. As we round out our top 5, this gilt was one that I thought was shapely and expressive. Had a lot of good to her. With that being said, I need to square her up off her rear foot. She's a little bit uneven in her toe down there at the surface, and she too could be just a little bit better through her rib cage. But a really nice group from top to bottom. Some give and take there in our top 5. If you would, put your hands together for those young people doing a great job as we start off our hog show.
Placings in our Class 1 Berks. 7th place is Jackson Boyle, Steel FFA. 6th place is Taylor Brawley, Seguin FFA. 5th place is Jacob Cassidy, Livero FFA. 4th place is Brent McCullis, Steel FFA. 3rd place goes to Auburn Frost, Livero FFA. 2nd place is Noah Richter, Steel FFA. And your class winner belongs to Hunter Rust of the Navarro FFA. Congratulations to you all. The Seguin Swine Breeders bump check will be given to Jackson Boyle. His Berkshire pig was purchased from Real Hog Farms. Entering our ring now will be Class 2 Berks. We have 6 entries. We're placing 5. I want to give a shout out to our live streaming people that are here with Jeffrey's Livestock Marketing. These guys are live streaming this show, so if you're not able to attend the whole show, or have access to a computer, or have a loved one at home that can't be here, you can tell them to look it up on jeffrieslivestockmarketing.com, and you can watch the hog show that's we're seeing in front of us live here. Thank you for your help on doing this.
Well, as we get into our middleweight Berkshire class, quite a bit of give and take once again. And as we talk about our initial pairing that we have up here, I think different viewpoints tell different stories. The young lady's Valder Mark gilt's the one I personally side with. And, if we could make that gilt just a little bit better whenever she drives directly at us and open up through her chest and just make her a bit more demanding in that initial view, I would start her even faster because she's overwhelming and I guess you could say uncontested up top. She's incredible in the way she comes out of the backside of her blade, really fresh and awesome whenever you study her down her top side. I like her balance and her proportionality from the side, a tall-shouldered, extended gilt that's really good structured. And whenever I back off and study the grouping, just driving from from a distance, I think this one balances the best, and her top side spread and freshness is very, very nice. The gilt in second, I think, is basic in a good way. She's opened up through the base of her skeleton and through her chest floor. She's bold and robust in her rib cage, and I think she handles everything very mobile in terms of the way she gets out and travels. And so, with that being said, I do think whenever we study the pair from the profile, she's a little bit lower there at the top side of her blade, maybe not quite as good from a balance standpoint. I do prefer the view she gives me when she drives directly at me. I just didn't think she was quite as good down her top side in regards to shape and spread, and at the same time from the profile, not as just overwhelming in her presence whenever we study them from the side, but a nice pair that has some give and take, and I did think about that one for a while. Our gilt that comes out here in third is one that you have to really like for being a wide skeleton, bold-made individual, and I like her flexibility, even though she gets a little bit wider whenever she tracks directly away in the way she'll plant out of her rear skeleton. I wish we could bring her in just a bit. Throughout the day, I might have to make an excuse a time or two on a hog as we study him drive away. But with that, of the top three, she gets the furthest outside of herself, and she's the most generic in her muscle shape. And those two things ultimately become her limiting factor. But I love her flexibility from the side. I like how she's a moderate type of hog who's bold and productive and definitely offers dimension. And I just thought here in our top three had quite a bit of trade-offs. We conclude our top four with the gilt. If we just study from the side, we can move way up in this class. I love this one's look and feature, a good skeleton, attractive type of hog. With that being said, whenever she comes at me or I get up above her, she just gets a bit flatter, and her rib doesn't spread as much from blade to hip. But I think that hog offers quite a bit of good in regards to looking like a hog that has the right kind of build and skeleton and gives you a really nice look. Just like I said here, just some tough decisions here at the top end. Here in five, we have a gilt that I need to make just a bit wider at the base of her skeleton, blow her open, and just make her more robust in her rib cage. And with those things, I thought it was close between 5 and 6 because that hog does get just a bit underneath herself. But ultimately, I sided with that one's cutability and lateness and maturity over that bear that was in 6. A nice group. Tons of trade-offs, if you would. Let's put our hands together for our exhibitors there in our middleweight Berkshire class.
Placings on our Class 2 Berkshires. In 5th place, we have Chanton Shadrock, Marion FFA. 4th place, AJ Franklin, Seguin FFA. 3rd place is Justine Covarrubias of Navarro FFA. 2nd place is Isabella Hartman, Navarro FFA. And our class winner is Emily Clutter, Marion FFA. In our ring right now, we have our Class 3 Berkshires. We have 4 entries. We'll be placing 3 of them.
only 4 here in our heavyweight class, and I think a nice pair here at the top end to sit back and study. The similarities amongst this pair, they're white skeleton hogs that are shapely and expressive, have the right kind of muscle shape and dimension throughout. And then when we talk about their skeletons, I think there's trade-offs, but once again, whenever I try to make them wide, stout, and opened up and make them market hogs first, I'm going to try to back off of them today and see which ones can fit together and give you a nice look whenever we talk about the way they're designed from the side. I personally feel like our class winning gilt here from the side is one who's a bit more elevated at the top side of her blade, a bit better in the length and levelness of her hip. And although she's a bit tighter in her rear pasterns, and I wish you'd just settle down there, she's a little collected in her rear toe spread and just a little bit more upright in her lower joint work, that gilt actually is square in her hog placement, and I like the way she maintains stability out of her hip and hind leg the longer we drive this particular pair. I think that one just really, in a heavyweight Berkshire setting, is compositionally correct, wide skeleton yet still square, and proportions, and gives you a really nice look from the side. In the small pen, whenever the young man's hog that's in second comes in, I'm naturally drawn to this one's just overwhelming shape and spread, both down her top and out of her hip. This is a muscle power hog, if you will, in regards to being one that's very impressive in those regards. From the side, I see her just a bit rounded out of her blade, out of her hip, and then whenever we drive them, she gets a bit more staggered in the way she gets out and travels out of her rear skeleton. I'd make her a little bit square there as well, but there's no question that that's a nice type of market hog in regards to having product and freshness to her out here in today's lineup. In third, just a really nice basic type of hog. She drives that the other top 3, the smallest footed and the frailest forearm, and with that, she gets a bit more closed up to her chest. In my personal opinion, that doesn't facilitate the same kind of blade shape and just overall muscle down her top. Love the boldness and just the productive look to her center, and I do like her flexibility just out here in the heavyweights. I wanted more in regards to feature and chest width and muscle up high. We concluded that class with a 4th place hog that was really sound structured, just needed more muscle all the way throughout. A nice group of Berkshires all the way through. Really looking forward to the drive.
Thank you, Judge. Our placings in Class 3 Berkshires. 3rd place is Stevie McFarland, Steel FFA. 2nd place is Cash Birdwell, Marion FFA. And our class winner is Corey Dilling, Marion FFA. We will now judge for our champion, Berkshire, and reserve.
No.
Well, Trent wants to do it like probably a C with a 3 on the end. You know, C3. And the rest of 1 at 4. I'm your involvement. Leave it alone, bro. It don't matter.
You'll get you out of the
No. If I move, you'll get. I let Garrett well on it. Yeah. Well, when he's down, when he both become alright, you need all the pins, feed, and you'll take a shot and you'll look. At night, I ain't supposed to feed. The boys sometimes don't get up a bit. I wind up. I feed them. Ain't running.
Well, as we work into our first pre-drive of the day, we get our class winners back out here, and I think oftentimes it's said they all fit the same mold. Well, I'll be completely honest. I don't think they all fit the same mold. As we go through those classes, I try to find the hogs that suit me best and satisfy some personal needs or personal, I guess you could say, requirements whenever I'm in the show ring. And with that, we have quite a bit of give and take out here. And so as we go through this particular lineup and I work through which one suits me best, I have a very unwavering mindset in regards to how I try to process livestock or anything at that particular token. And so with that, as we get out here and I work through the different viewpoints that I prioritize and try to find the freshly presented, high quality hogs that I think not only a market hog show, but also represent hogs that have the right type of just grow to them, yet still have the right kind of show ring presence for today. I think it can get a little bit close out here, but with that, I think every once in a while, as a show judge, you have to just react, and you have to find the ones that come through and hit you awfully hard. And I think that's what, honestly, I resort to here as our eventual champion, our Berkshire show. I'll go to the mic once we get our second place out. But with that being said, I think there's close calls, and I know everyone maybe has a certain way they like to do it in terms of weight class and those type of things. But my favorite Berkshire that came in the ring today, young men's lightweight, will be our champion.
Congratulations, Hunter Rust, champion Berkshire. Lavero FFA.
We get out here for reserve, and I think things could be closer. We talked back in class, and I'll try my hardest today to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Our second class winner is one that's incredible in her look. Love her skeleton in regards to her flex and function. Awesome in her top side. I need to pull her apart through the base of her skeleton just a bit. But if you just judge them from the side, that one pushes them all very, very hard. Our first place heavyweight, I think, is a stout made, good type of market hog that doesn't blow you away in terms of just presence. And also we could fix her in her rear joint work ever so slightly. Our second place lightweight's a nice type of hog, maybe pushing just a shot more cover in that lightweight setting than what I prefer, and we could open her up as well. I think it's a close call out here. The one that I think offers some very alarming pieces in a good way in regards to being, 12 o'clock today, maxed out, and very good. In where she's good, she might be the best in this particular lineup. The young lady's middleweight will be our reserve. Congratulations to her.
Congratulations, Emily Clutter, Marion FFA, reserve champion Burke.
We have 3 and placing 2 in the next class, correct?
Yes.
Because we scratched.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're now ready to start our light OPB class. We have 3 entries, 2 will place. Light OPBs.
Well, as we get into our light OPB division here, and we have our lightweight class that only has three, and then I think three hogs that offer some differences. And as we process these and we take them all in, I think, in my opinion at least, there's a very solid winner in regards to being a white skeleton, mobile type of hog, in regards to their skeleton. Open up, stout, muscular, yet I really like the way this particular hog gets out and travels. In my opinion, one that really separates herself from the lineup. Young lady right here in the light blue is driving her class winner. Individually, I think that hog does a lot of good in regards to being opened up, really good in her flexibility. I like the set and utilization of her hog, yet she's still good in her rear joint work. A hog that with that, of this entire class is just unparalleled in regards to her muscle shape, and I think that's important to keep in mind out here as we study lightweight market hogs. One that really satisfies a lot of things that I'm after. In a perfect world, we could elevate her there on her front feet, peel back, and just a shot there at the top side of her neck in regards to her crest. I don't mean to sound too negative, but I don't think that any of the other hogs correct her in those areas. And second, we're going to have the young lady's gilt there on the far side. I personally like this hog's design and freshness. A very flexible hog who's tall-shouldered. I like her levelness and length of her top line very nicely. I need to make her wider out of her pin set and more muscular from behind to rival our class winner. But that's a big, elevated type of gilt whose skeleton and freshness honestly become her biggest advantage over the hog that we're going to conclude this class with. The hog in third is flexible and very good in regards to being a big outline, fast-growing type of hog in regards to her look out here. With that being said, we're going to be not quite as fresh as that initial pair, a little bit more closed up about our base and our rib cage. But a nice class from top to bottom. Put your hands together for those three young people doing a great job out here this morning.
Placings in our light OPB. Second place is Morgan Booker, Navarro FFA. First place is Briley Clufus, Marion FFA. Briley will also receive the Ski Swine Breeders bump check. Her pig was bred by Alderson Farms, Doug Alderson. In the ring now is our second class of light OPBs. We have 3 entries. We'll be placing 2 of them.
Well, as we get out here in our heavyweight class, three really good pigs, and I hope that's something ringside you can recognize. I know we only have three in this class, but the young people have presented them extremely well, doing a nice job with the group of hogs out here that I think honestly offer quite a bit of trade-offs. And as we study this group, you can sit here or there in regards to where you want to be from a composition standpoint, a skeletal standpoint, this and that. And when you get down to it, I don't think there's a lot of differences out here. And so with that, I took just a shot longer in regards to studying them and trying to find the one that I'm the most comfortable with. And as we get out here, I do think you could modify them or tweak them here or there. But ultimately, I'm going to side with the hog that I think best combines not only being great in regards to awesome in their top side in regards to shape and spread, one that's stout feature, compositionally correct, and I think all of the wide chest, we could tweak it at its knee and just front end driving directly at you. Doesn't want to maybe be the happy show pig out here, but the one I prefer is the young lady's gilt directly in front of me. And so what makes it challenging is I want to make her better in her knee placement and make her a bit better there in regards to she gets a little bit lower there at the front side of her skeleton. But with that, I really like the way she reads as a stout feature, genuine market hog that's really good whenever you study her from a composition standpoint. The next two are the most different that we have in this particular class, and I think what makes this challenging and as you think through it is, which one maybe follows up your winner here or there. Honestly, I back off and I try to see which one fits together and balances and those type of things as much as we possibly can. I don't know what the weight difference is, but I think a good skeleton, very good type of hog in terms of their balance is the young man's gilt directly in front of me. In a market hog setting, I read her to have just a shot more cover on her in regards to blade forward there at the top side of her neck, and she has shape down the middle part of her back, but I don't read her quite as good in the turn to her loin edge, and I think she has just a bit more bark on her, but I do like her skeletal correctness, and I like the way she gets out and travels. I don't read her as stout featured or just as genuine as our class winner. This is a good bear that's going to be in third. I love his skeleton. He's really good in his blade shape, his length, and his presence from the side of this group. He doesn't overwhelm me like the gilts that are in 1 and 2 today in this setting. He'll get just a little bit flatter there through the base of his rib and center cavity. He's awesome in his hair length and his texture to his hair, and so he appears to be bold ribbed. Out here in this particular class, though, I thought you had to have, I guess you could say, come to the heavyweights ready to go today. I think that hog's better days could be ahead of him if he goes to another show because he is wide skeleton and flexible. Had to make some calls down the line. I like to tweak him in his crest to his blade and tie him together there and make him just as powerful as the initial pairing of gilts. That's a close call. Hopefully I described them and it made sense because I do think that trio deserves a lot of discussion.
Placings in our second class light OPB. Second place is Braden Forts, Marion FFA. First place goes to Holly Kaiser, New Berlin 4-H. We'll now judge for champion and reserve champion light OPB.
As we get out here in our champion white OPB lineup, tried really hard as we went through those two classes to find hogs that suit me. I think they're pretty similar in what they have out here. And so we've described them. I think they have a lot of similarities. And whenever we get them back out here, I do think that it's impressive that our heavyweights maintain herself to a heavy endpoint here with the right kind of compositional correctness. And she's stronger on her front feet. That is our lightweight gill. With that, I could change her just a bit when she drives at me in terms of her knee placement. That lightweight hog, I think, really separated herself there in our initial class. We'll get back out here in today's lineup, the one that I like the best. And as I mentioned, I think not only has done it a little bit longer, reached a heavier weight, but is a bit better there whenever she drives at me when we study him at the surface. The heavyweight will be our champion. Congratulations to her.
Champion light OPB's Holly Kaiser, Berlin 4-H. Congratulations.
As we bring in our second place heavyweight, a guilt that I mentioned back in that lineup. We had quite a bit of give and take, and I mentioned that I thought our eventual champion was one that read so good from a composition standpoint, a bit more genuine. I think this hog has just a little bit more cover on her, and I think if you're getting more on the breeding hog side of things, I think that allows her to look like an awesome breeding gilt out here, how to get picky in a market hog setting. With that being said, she comes together and designs up really good from the side, awesome in regards to her skeleton, the way she gets out and flexes. And so I thought that was an incredibly good group of three in her heavyweights. I'm going to keep those together. The young man's heavyweight will be a reserve.
Reserve champion, light OPB, belongs to Braden Forts, Marion FFA. Our Seguin swine breeder, $100 bump check, will be going to Holly Kaiser. Her pig was bred by Alderson Farms, Doug Alderson. Congratulations. Coming into the ring now will be our dark OPB class. Our first class of dark OPBs. There'll be 6 entries. We're placing 5.
Right.
Well, as we work through our lightweights here in our dark OPBs, we talk about, trying to prioritize things. And in all honesty, I don't think muscle became a limiting factor. And as we talk about our first and third place hogs, they're not overwhelming in their totality of muscle. But with that being said, our class winner, in my opinion, is our clear winner in this particular lineup. I really like the way this gilt designs up from the side. Not only is she stout about her skull and has the right kind of shape and stoutness to her forearm, but whenever you study the way her skeleton works, I'm a big fan of that because she is just a bit better in the way she tracks away from us than is our second place hog. And then she's really fresh in her center body, her top side reads, tuned in for today's show. And I think that gilt just honestly hit me the hardest in the small pen, comes out here in the bigger ring and continues to impress. Like I've said in our lighting weight classes today, I like how that hog reads to have the right kind of maturity pattern and the right kind of scale to her to be nice. If we were to come back a month from now, I think she'd continue just to get better and better. Ultimately, that one's structure and that one's freshness became what I sided with here in our first pairing of our lightweights. The spot here in second is a wide-chested, muscular type of hog, and I really like that whenever you study her from blade to hip. She undoubtedly has the most muscle of the top four out of her hip and through her stifle. With that from the side, she gets a little bit lower fronted, and then from behind, for as much muscle she has, and how wide she is from stifle to stifle, she'll get a little bit narrower as she transitions to the surface, and then make her just a bit more consistent in her width from the top side of her hip all the way down the ground. But I like where she is in regards to skeletal width driving at me through her chest. I like her muscle content and their ability to read as a powerful hog in this group. I give up quite a bit of muscle here in third, and I say that open-mindedly because as I study this entire grouping, 5 and 6 were hogs that are a little bit rounder in their build. But with that being said, this hog in particular is better in the way she's put together out of her rear skeleton than our fourth place spare. I like how she stays more within herself whenever you study where she puts her rear foot. And from the side, this hog's as good as any. She's tall-fronted, dead level, and really good in terms of her look. And I do think that this gilt has leanness and cutability in her favor. With that being said, though, I want to just make her bolder ribs, spread her wider out of the backside of her blade, and give her more muscle throughout. If we could do that, I can move her all the way up in a second. This bear in fourth is very interesting to me. In full disclosure, I really want to change just the shape to his skull. I want to give him a stouter bottom jaw and take away a little bit of cheek, if you will, ahead of his blade. And I think what's very odd is from their back, that hog reads good from a composition standpoint. Blade forward tells just a little bit different of a story, if you will, in regards to being a hog that's not put together quite as nicely through his front end in terms of just balance and presence. Blade back, that's a good hog in regards to his shape outside of his blade. He's big rumped and big hipped. With that, whenever you study this bear driving away, he'll bring the point of his hock in and kick his rear foot outside of his skeleton. The middle third of this hog is as good as any. I just need to make him a little bit better up front, make him a little bit better in the way he leaves me. But I thought that young lady did a nice job with the hog that offers a lot of good. As I mentioned on the onset, 5 and 6 are muscular hogs, and there's no doubt about that. Our hog in 5 is as opened up, bold-ribbed, and muscular as any. Whenever I study him from the side, though, of the top end of this class, he's a lowest-shouldered hog who's the roundest out of his hip. I like to change his skeleton and his balance just a bit, but really like the power and muscularity that he offers. A nice group of lightweights. Let's put our hands together for those exhibitors doing a great job out here this morning.
Placings in our first class of dark OPBs. 5th place goes to Jackson W. Huey of Clemens FFA. 4th place goes to Gabriella Reesing, Steel FFA. 3rd place goes to Jaden Wallace, Steel FFA. 2nd place goes to Emma Hartman, Navarro FFA. And our class winner is Cody Kelso, Marion FFA. Congratulations. Entering the ring now will be our dark OPB Class 2. We have 8 entries. We're placing 6. And the last class, our Seguin Swine Breeders bump check for $100 goes to Jaden Wallace, her pig was bred by Kelso Genetics. Congratulations. I want to make an announcement that if you decide you want to sell your animal, number one, you need to have a picture taken in the back, hopefully as you leave the ring. We have a photographer back there that can take care of that for you. Also, when you place, you will be receiving a card that needs to be filled out and turned in here at the announcer stand. That card is critical to get you in the sales order for Saturday. Thank you. Attention in the barn, if you want to participate in showmanship, which will be held immediately after the judging of the grand champion this afternoon, if you want to participate in showmanship, you need to sign up over here at the desk by Ms. Kelso over here. We'll get that done for you. Just give us sign a sheet and we'll set you up. Thank you.
Well, as we go through this class, tons of give and take. And as we talk about this grouping, as I sent some back to the pen and I made my initial pool, if you will, I made, I guess you could say, some hogs stand out to me for different reasons. And as we go through the lineup, we'll talk about 5 and 6 a bit when we get there because I believe they merit mentioning. As we talk about our initial pair of hogs, our Louder Mark Gilt there and the Young Man's Bear on the far side, those hogs coming at you really good. They're opened up to the base of their skeleton. They're hogs who maintain flexibility and mobility from the side. Their ability to push, plant, and reach and do it again is very, very nice. If I could change my class winner in one area, I personally read her a bit more upright in her hock placement, and so when I get behind her, she compensates a bit for being a little bit narrow where she places her rear feet than where she is at the top side of her hip. If I made her better there, I think she could run away with this class because maybe blame it on what I try to prioritize with the judging team, but I feel the safest on this hog in regards to knowing that she's a genuine, very compositionally correct hog who leaves me undoubtedly bigger out of her hip and more muscular. And I like those things about her. Like I said, we could change the way she uses her hock and rear foot just a bit, but that one fits me awfully nice here as well. Our hog here in second, there's a lot of things I like about this bear. He's better about the stoutness of his skull. The shape to his skull is better. He's huge forearmed, and I'm personally a sucker for that. When they drive directly at me, I want him to read stout and opened up. With that, he's maybe just a little bit different there on his front feet. He'll hit, plant, and twist just a bit. The biggest difference, in my opinion, is when I get behind this bear, everyone could have different opinions. I read him a bit more bland, a bit more generic, out of his pin set, down there through his stifle and through the base of his hand. Personally, I need to shape him up there for me to be convinced that he's not pushing just a shot more cover than what I'm willing to accept. But that hog's stoutness of feature with the skeleton and balance from the side suit me a bit better. I'll open-mindedly say I need to power him up from behind for this judge to feel just a bit more comfortable with him there in second. In third, this hog needs to be stouter feature. She's small, about her foot size, a bit more refined in terms of her bone work. This young man, though, does an incredible job in terms of getting this one presented. I love the fact that whenever she came in the gate here on the far side or she's in the middle of the ring, she's heads up, she's level, she's very sound structured. I just need to open her up through her skeleton, bone her up there in terms of her rib cage, and just give her a more in regards to her rib shape and overall muscle whenever you study her spread from blade to hip. But a very highly presented one there to be in 3. In 4, a stout-featured mobile type of hog who, in my opinion, is very good in regards to being flexible and stout-featured. I like to give this one just a shot more shape up high. We, too, could maybe make her just a little bit better in terms of being a little taller fronted. She's a little bit lower there at the front side of her skeleton. Doesn't give us the look that the top 3 do, but I think that one's very basic and very good in this lineup. I think that's a very nice hog the young lady has done a good job with. As we conclude our top end of this particular class, 5 was a bear that was pushing a little bit more condition, like to lean him up just a bit. And then 6 was a very lean, high cut-ability type of gilt that was a little drier through her center, a little tighter in the way she got out and traveled, but a really nice group from top to bottom. Let's pay him off with a nice round of applause.
Thank you, Judge. Our placings in dark OPB Class 2. In 6th place is Jackson Kurz, Marion FFA. 5th place is Justine Covarrubias, Navarro FFA. 4th place is Kaylee Barbie, Marion FFA. 3rd place goes to Chase Collin, Clemens FFA. 2nd place goes to Urban Wilkes, Navarro 4-H. And our class winner is Noah Richter, Steel FFA. Our Seguin Swine Breeders bump check will be going to Chase Collin with the Clemens FFA. I'm sorry, with Steel FFA. No, I had it right the first time. Clemens. That will be MT Hart Livestock is the breeder on his pig. Thank you. Entering the ring is Class 3 dark OPBs. We have 5 pigs entered. 4 will place.
Well, as we study this pair that we've yet to place out here in the ring, one of our maybe smaller classes, and as we work down to our top end, from the minute these two came in, I knew they were going to be the ones that we're going to have to make a decision between. Young men are doing a good job with a pair of very freshly presented gilts out here, and I do think that there's some minor differences, and to discuss them in no particular order, just to talk the hogs, and then I'll tell you the way I like them. The young man here on the far side with the gilt that has the gilt that's more predominantly black here is one that you have to love as an individual in regards to everything just fitting and matching on this particular hog. Young man's done a great job in terms of skin and hair. She's freshly presented. In comparison, this hog isn't quite as just long-bodied or quite as big in terms of her frame size, and so there's some positives that can go with that in regards to the turn to her rib cage, the depth of her center body matches her frame size and length of body just a shot better. And I do like the way this gilt gets out and travels, and she's muscular and square built. Some things that I like about her also become some things that I think give her the I guess you could say go ahead in this particular lineup. In comparison, she's not quite as just stout feature at the ground, and our gilt that's here on the far side, that's a heavy skeleton hog. She's huge in terms of her feature. I love her foot size, her form, her skull size and shape is very demanding. That gilt is big and broad down her top side, bold-bladed, and I love those things about her. And so as we go through here, both are muscular and very fresh. As I stand back and I study the group going along, I guess you could say, long ways here along the ring, I think there's some minor give and take. The one that I think ultimately fits together the best and balances and everything just matches the best, young man right here is driving our class winner. Young man over there is doing a great job with our second place gilt. My biggest deciding factor was she is a bigger, longer type of hog. I don't read her quite as robust there in terms of her form and the base of her cavity. She's not quite as overwhelming in the shape and the turn of her center body, and she'll be just a bit higher flank. That's a good pair of hogs. I want to compliment both young men. I know both of them came here with hopes of winning the heavyweights, if not the entire breed. Here in third, a wide-chested gilt that's bold-ribbed and muscular. Whenever you study her at the top end of this class, not nearly as fresh there through her crest or down her top side. She too gets just a bit tighter about her rear pastern, not quite as flexible out of her rear skeleton, but a nice hog there that's going to be in third. That's definitely a good kind of market hog. We conclude our top end of this class with a gilt that, in my opinion, is just a little bit smaller scaled. She's a little bit more compact and closer to the ground. She doesn't lack muscle or product, but she does give up just a shot in terms of balance and cutability. I wish we could make her taller fronted and level her out. She too will get just a bit awkward and out in terms of her hog placement, but a really nice group of hogs from top to bottom. Thought a nice pair up top to discuss.
Thank you, Judge. Our placings in Class 3 dark OPBs. In fourth place is Owen Shane Vogel, Marion FFA. In third place is Reed Reiniger, Marion FFA. Second place will be Tyler Schneider, Marion FFA. And our class winner is Luke Bell, Santa Clara 4-H. Luke will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders bump check. The breeder on that pig was BC Show Pigs. Congratulations to all. We are now judging our champion and reserve champion, dark OPB.
As we worked through this breed, I felt like the classes were as challenging to put together as any that we've worked through up to this point. Quite a bit of differences as we went from top to bottom. I'm very comfortable and confident these were the three that suited me best, and ultimately that's why they're out here in the champion drive for their particular breed. That lightweight's freshness and the way her skeleton was aligned, positioning her as the clear winner there in our first class. I think that gilt offers a lot of good, and I personally like the way she gets out and travels. She handles her feet and legs really nicely. Young lady's done all of her homework in terms of skin and hair. That one's dialed in for today, and I thought that one represented her lightweights really, really well. Our middleweight class, we had every shape, size, and different type of hog in that particular lineup. We said we could tweak this one just a bit in the way her hocks align when you get directly behind her and just make her a bit more consistent whenever she drives away. I like where that hog is in terms of chest width, body shape, and muscularity, and I think that one represents that class very nicely. That last top pair that I discussed I thought was really, really good, and this gilt was one I ultimately sided with because I like hogs that everything fits and matches and makes sense in regards to not only being opened up and muscular, but I like a rib cage that matches their frame size and length of body, allows them, in my opinion at least, to proportion and come together very nicely. If you would, before I get a champion reserve, let's put our hands together for all of our dark OPB exhibitors out here this morning, doing an incredible job. The one I like the most is going to be at our heavyweight class. Young man right here, is going to be driving our champion dark OPB. Congratulations to him.
Champion dark OPB belongs to Luke Bell, Santa Clara 4-H. Congratulations. We will now judge for our reserve champion.
We drop our second heavy back out, and I bragged about her in that class. So that's one who's really heavy structured, yet handles it really good. I like the set and the use to her hawk. She's awesome in her spread and dimension up high and out of her hip. Handles everything squarely whenever you get behind her. Very square built. With that, we talked about some differences in that heavyweight class. She's a big, long-bodied hog, and I like those things about her. I think oftentimes in a show ring, we talk about some things that maybe don't matter. I think that hog has performance and grow power to her. With that being said, compared to our eventual champion, I read her just a little tighter there in her center body, not quite as good in just the shape and just the dimension that she had through her rib cage. As we get her back out here, that one's my second favorite. Young man there on the far side, our second heavy is our reserve.
Reserve champion dark OPB belongs to Tyler Schneider, Marion FFA. Congratulations. In just a moment, we'll be showing our Durocs Class 1. We have 11 entries. We'll be placing 8.
Well, I enjoy judging red hogs, and I think it's fun. Yet, whenever you get out here in lightweight setting, we excuse some that maybe were just a little bit different in regards to the way their feet and legs were aligned. With that, we probably had some that were just a little bit off the mark in regards to show day freshness and shape. And ultimately, I get these three up here towards the top. And whenever we talk about this grouping of hogs, I honestly just feel like there's one that suits me best. The being a hog that whenever you study him coming or going or from the side, just is one that I honestly side with as we study him out here. Although not out there in any one area, he just suits me the best. I like this hog whenever he drives at me. He's a bit stouter and just a bit tougher whenever you study him through his front skeleton in regards to his skull shape and size. He's bold-bladed. He's mobile and flexible. I like the set that he has to his hock, and he's a bit stouter featured than our second-place hog. Our second-place hog, and he does today give the illusion of great shape up high. I think that's his muscle pattern and also an awesome clip job. This hog spreads really good, and I like his dimension. Honestly, I like his looseness of skeleton. Now that hog just reads opened up and really flexible. Our second-place hog is out there in an area or two. That one's shape up high reads incredible whenever you get right up above him. That hog is one who, from the side, I think you could kind of talk about him some different ways. Some might like his extra, I guess you could say, sharpness and refinement through his skull. I want to sound that up a little bit. I think for him to read as a power hog from nose to tail, I got to give that one just a bit stouter skull and make him a little bit better whenever he comes in the ring. I read it just a bit more refined. He, too, is perched just a little bit forward there in terms of his blade. I'd rock him back there ever so slightly if I could. And for having all that mass and power up high, I want to stout him up down low just a shot if I could. You just want to talk about a powerful, really good kind of lightweight market hog here in our Duroc class. This is an opened up muscle hog in regards to being a bull-bladed gilt that's great in her spread from blade to hip, big out of her hip as well. With that, she gets a bit tighter out of her hip, and that was from the onset. Whenever she was in the small pin and then she got out here, I knew I wanted to make her just a bit better in the way she reaches from her stifle joint down in regards to being just a bit more tied up. I think her muscle pattern probably does that. She has just a shot more there through her lower hem and stifle, and so that hinders her hind leg travel just a bit. Compared to our bears that go first and second, that give you an incredible look. I read her just a little bit shorter there up ahead of her blade. I personally like that. She reads a little bit stouter whenever you study her coming right at you. I think that initial impression, her being just a bit heavier structured through her front end, is a little bit nicer than our second place sparrow, but a nice hog. I think a really nice one to settle there in a third. Coming out in fourth, a gilt that's really flexible. She gets out and travels really loose structured. We can make her just a little bit better and make her just a bit stronger there on all four pasterns, if you will. She gets a little bit unsecure in regards to just kind of gets out, and I think she's flexible, like I mentioned. Just maybe doesn't have the same security and stability at the surface. I don't ultimately thought here in her lightweight class she was a bold-bodied, muscular hog who maintained freshness and just structural correctness in regards to flex and looseness a bit better than some. I got high on this bear in 5, and I'll be completely honest with you. This one has some awesome pieces that I know we're in a market hog show today, and that's where I have to draw the line. If we just study him from the side, this one, shoulder height, extension, length of body and the hip, allow him to proportion the best of the entire class. But of the top, honestly, 7 of this class, he's the most bland on the backside of his blade. He's a bit flatter out of his hip and through the base of his ham. I got to give him more muscle to move him up. But like I said, that one looks great from the side. He will take a good picture. I just have to man him up out here in our first class of Durocs to move him up. A great class, a lot of give and take. Good job to those young people.
Thank you, Judge. Our placings in Class 1 Durocs. In 8th place is Jenna Contreras Garcia, Steel FFA. 7th place is Bobby Clufus, Marion FFA. 6th place is Jada Littlefield, Santa Clara 4H. 5th place, we have Jake Schulze, Marion FFA. 4th place, we have Emily Clutter, Marion FFA. 3rd place, we have Matthew Rodriguez, Steel FFA. In 2nd place, we have Ryan Rust, Navarro FFA. And our class winner is Briston Birdwell, Marion FFA. Our Seguin Swine Breeders bump check will be given to Matthew Rodriguez. The breeder on his pig was Kelso Genetics. Entering now, we have our Duroc Class 2. We have 12 inches will be placing 9. Couple reminders for all you exhibitors. If you want to participate in showmanship, the sign-up sheet is over here on the announcer stand, so make sure you come by and sign up. If you're not signed up, we do not participate in showmanship. Also, as you leave the ring, if your pig is placed and you want to sell that animal, you must take a picture, and you also must fill out a sale card that will be given to you as you leave the ring with your ribbon. That card needs to be filled out and turned in either at the desk here, at the announcer stand, or in the main office here to the south. Thank you. Also, a reminder: if this is going to be the last destination for your show pig, you have an opportunity to sell the pig from here. Michael Friesenhahn will be bringing a trailer in probably toward the end of the show. It'll be in the hog barn. The price per pound will be 40 cents, is what you'll receive a check for. And that will happen again this afternoon after we're probably through with the whole show. I would think you have the trailer in there. Thank you.
deep class, one of the biggest that we've had up to this point today. And honestly, these two hogs were the ones that came in and in the small ring setting there on the far side hit me awfully hard because they're opened up. And whenever we hit the ring at the onset, their squareness of build, their ability to be power hogs that have muscle and dimension and keep it all within themselves were things I liked. Honestly, whenever our class winner drives heads up across the ring, I prefer that hog in terms of her presence there from the side, a gilt that starts at the ground in terms of being one that's stronger on her front feet. She's taller there at the top side of her shoulder, gives you a really good look here from the side. I personally think the way she ties everything together and balances is what finally gives her the go-ahead in this particular class. And so it's her look and design that I prefer whenever they drive from the profile. She's opened up to her chest, not perfect in her knee, but I do think that hog is opened up really good from a muscle standpoint. And then from behind, I think that one is good from a muscle standpoint. You could probably clean her up just a shot there in her hock joint. But whenever I had to make the deciding factor, I grouped them together as powerful hogs and then liked our class winner just a bit better from the side. Our second place hog is awesome in her feature through her skull and form. She's a heavy skeleton gilt that's really good in her spread from blade to hip. Young man's done a great job in terms of her show day presentation. From the side compared to our class winner, she's a little bit lower fronted. I wish we could make her a little bit stronger there on her front feet elevator there at the top side of her blade. And with those things, I didn't think she maybe came together quite as good there from the side, but I really like that hog's freshness and overall mobility. A freshly presented one that I think comes out here at her stoutness of feature down low matches her power up high a little bit better than the hog we have coming out in third. Coming out in third, we have a gilt that'll be awesome whenever you study her from her levelness, from her blade back to her tail set there. One that offers chest width and skeletal width all the way through. I read her a little bit frailer down at the ground. I want to make her a bit better in the way she tracks away from me. And ultimately, I want to stout her up in terms of her framework for what she has up above that. But I thought that hog's ability to be opened up and drive at me really good and leave me consistent in her width is what I like there in third. Hogs in 4 and 5, whenever we get behind him is their deciding factor. And so when I talk this Sparrow here in forward, hit forward, I like so many things about him. He's opened up to his chest. Young lady does a great job getting his setup. Comes together awesome there from the side. With that being said, though, whenever we get out here in our middleweight class, they need to leave me just a bit more demanding. He's big and muscular out of his hip. Then he'll drop a frailer hind leg there out of his stifle joint, and he wants to pull in his hind leg just a bit. I want to make him leave me like a big wide power hog like he drives at me. Come out next with a gilt that whenever she tracks away, it's some of the same story. She's really good through her chest. I honestly thought right when this one came in the ring, I just wish she would kind of pick up and hit another gear. She's a little bit little bit slower out here, but with that, I don't read her quite as good in the way she hinges out of her hip. She too gets a little bit rounder in her hip design, a little rounder there at the front side of her blade, and so I didn't catch her front two-thirds, being quite as attractive or quite as nice as our fourth place hog. She too could be just a little better in the way she leaves me, but a nice class, some give and take there at the top end. Let's put our hands together for those exhibitors, and a great job there in our middleweight class.
Thank you, Judge. Our results in Class 2 Durocs. In ninth place is Kylo Reiner, New Berlin 4-H. Eighth place is Cash Birdwell, Marion FFA. Seventh place is Kendra Ross, Marion FFA. Sixth place is Emily Pompa, Clemens 4-H. Fifth place is Case Kelso, Marion FFA. In fourth place is Alexa Schulze, Marion FFA. Third place is Grace Vogel, Navarro FFA. And second place is Chance Chiranza, New Berlin 4-H. And our class winner goes to Cross Kelso, Marion FFA. Congratulations to all. The Seguin Swine Breeders $100 bump check will be given to Cross Kelso. Breeder on his hog is Kelso Genetics. We now have Class 3 Durocs. We have 9 entries. We placed 7.
And then we're going to be third right there. Good job. Lady, we're going to be second right there. Good job, young lady. A nice pair up here to work through, and I felt like the top three separated themselves in this class as we worked through 4 and further down. I thought we could maybe do some different things, and we could change them a spot or two. Our class-winning gilt, in my opinion, her stoutness of feature, her security of her front foot, and the way she balances from the side. I like how she's a stout skull level designed hog who's longer and better out of her hip design, in my personal opinion. Like I mentioned several times today, once I solidify their spot as a genuine opened up square built hog, I'm going to try to back off to the far side and pick the ones that balance the best and fit together. What makes me take just a little bit longer is to complete her balance look from the side. I wish we can make her just a little bit better through the lower portions of her rib cage and make her just a bit fresher and fuller back through her rear rib and flank. But in my opinion, whenever I study this gilt going from the side, she's a tall-shouldered, stout-skulled hog who's leveled on her top. Like I mentioned, I like the way she designed out of her hip. Also, if I could, I'd make her track away just a little bit wider from behind, because she'll get just a little bit narrower down to her base. I don't want to sound critical out here, but I want to say everything that's on my mind. That one just suits me the best from a design standpoint and balance. I really like this young lady's gilt whenever we study her freshness and her fullness that we have built into her center body. That correlates with a really impressive top side on this particular hog. She's a tall-fronted, attractive hog through her front 1/3. Then as we move through her hip, she's a little bit steeper and takes just a little bit steeper of a, I guess you could say, slope there out of her hip, but she still has the right kind of use and flex to her hock. With that being said, from the side, I didn't catch her balancing quite as good, and then she too maybe gets a little bit frailer about her form and softer on her front feet in comparison, but that gilt comes in there initially and hit me awfully hard. A really nice one there to be in 2. Coming out in 3, I really like this gilt's extension. She's a tall shoulder level hog. With that, she's built just a shot more upright out of her blade and out of her hip and hind leg. With that, she's the shortest striding, shortest stepping hog there of our initial 3. I too wish I could pull her apart through the base of her skeleton just a bit, but really like that one's expression. She's a lean, high ability, good type of hog that I read just a bit more genuine than our hog that's going to be coming out here in 5. Here in 4, we have a gilt that I wish I could make her stouter structured, but if we could do that, we might be able to move her up several spots. And so, with that being said, she's a really good balance hog who's flexible. She can get out and reach and flex with the best of them. With that, I want to make her a bit stouter down low. She gets a bit smaller about her foot size. I like to give her a stouter skeleton and make her just a little bit better in terms of her feature and framework. But that gilt structure, her shape, her expression is very, very good. And I like how she comes at me open up through her chest. She's a genuine type of hog. Our hog coming out in 5 is one who from a distance you can love, because this gilt is bold and really good through her center part of her body, and I think all that allows her to balance really good. I'm a stickler on that initial viewpoint. She gets a little bit weaker up front. Of the top end of this class, she's the most close up through her chest, and then I read her just a bit more generic in her top side shape. I don't read her quite as good from a cutability standpoint. I want to make her width down low match her mass and product up high. If we could do that, we could move her up, because that hog has been taken care of extremely well. Just wish we could open her up about the base base of her skeleton. A really nice class from top to bottom. Really good one there in our third class. Looking forward to our fourth class like we've done the entire day. Let's put our hands together for those exhibitors.
Thank you, Judge. Placings in our Class 3 Durocs. 7th place goes to Cage Herford, Clemens 4-H. 6th place goes to Lena Adams, Clemens FFA. 5th place goes to Hayden Pompa, Clemens FFA. 4th place goes to Jenna Contreras Garcia, Steel FFA. 3rd place goes to Kason Clufus, Marion FFA. 2nd place goes to Cody Kelso, Marion FFA. And our class winner was Justin Brawny, Navarro FFA. And the Seguin Swine Breeders bump check will be going to Kason Clufus, the Marion FFA, with a pig that he drove here today that was from Kelso Genetics. Coming to the ring now is Duroc's Class 4. We have 8 entries, placing 6. been asked to announce that the concession stand next door to us here is open, and they all have a whole menu of burgers, hot dogs, corn dogs, Frito pie, so forth, drinks. They are open and ready to do business. So if you get the munchies or are looking for lunch later on, that's the place to go if you want to stay on the grounds. Thank you.
In our heavyweight Duroc class, I ultimately felt like the top three or so in this particular lineup were ones that have maintained the right freshness up to this point. Some of them 4 and further down maybe started battling the upper weight limit just a little bit more. These two hogs that we have up here at the top end are a little different from one another. The young man's dark gilt there on the far side. I really like the way she out and reaches and flexes out here whenever you compare her to our second place hog. She's a long, extended individual, and I like whenever we get her head up and go from the side, just her length of body, her extension. She has better reach out of her hip and hind leg. And with that being said, I think that one's really good from a muscularity, token as well. I think that one's put together good. Her structure's nice. If we could probably stound her up just a shot down low because she is a very muscular hog up above that. But I do think she's the best combination of being a compositionally correct, freshly presented type of hog whose skeleton is very flexible. The gilt here we have in second is one that's probably just a bit more robust there through the center part of her body cavity, really good in her rib shape, has muscle out of her hip. I read her to be just a little bit tighter out of her hip and hind leg, doesn't get out and flex like our class winner does, but a really nice hog there in second that I thought positioned herself there quite handily. The hog in third, I want to give more muscle. I want to make this one a bit bolder on the backside of his blade, make him just a shot more expressive all the way throughout. But I thought that one's structural correctness, and at the same time, I thought that one looked like he was a fresh-bodied bear that had been fed to this certain weight. Without maybe ever having to, maybe be held there with the feed bucket. And I say those things, and I talk very candid there because the hog we have coming out in fourth, this hog looks like he maybe has been held just a bit because when I get up and I study him, he's a bit harder there, a little flatter there in the middle part of his rib. He's starting to show some wear and tear there in his hamloin junction, and so I need to open up that bear, freshen him up. But I thought his skeletal just flexibility and look from the side was good. Like I said, I like to open him up, and we have a wider built gilt that's going to be here in 5, and she's undoubtedly bigger chested, bolder in her rib, but I get a little bit hard on the way she gets out and travels. She's tighter out of her rear skeleton and a bit more uncoordinated, but I did contemplate the pair there in 4 and 5 because there's quite a bit of differences. Like I said, I just got to make her a little bit more flexible. Like I said, this bear is probably a little bit past his prime, but a nice hog that the young lady's done a great job with in terms of skin and hair and showing him out here today. A nice class, if you will. Let's put our hands together for our exhibitors as we work into the drive.
Thank you, Judge. Our results of Duroc Class 4. In 6th place, we have Courtney Fry, Steel FFA. 5th place, we have Cade Kurz, Marion FFA. In 4th place, we have Layla Franklin, Seguin FFA. 3rd place is Ezra Wall, Steel FFA. 2nd place, we have Emily Chambers, Marion FFA. And 1st place goes to Cage Herforth of the Clemens 4-H. Cage will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders $100 bump check. The breeder was Real Hog Farm. Congratulations to all. We'll now judge for our champion and reserve champion Duroc.
Well, I always know whenever I come to this county, I did the breeding guilds a couple years ago, that whenever we get into our Duroc division, we're going to have numbers and we're going to have quality, and that in combination with the young people doing such a great job with their daily care, I think makes judging Durocs fun, yet challenging. And so I personally like the game of managing a Duroc and those type of things. And today in Karnes County, the show is going to be going on there and helping a couple families there with some red hogs. And I say those things is because, as we get out here, a judge has to do what they like and what they feel, I guess you could say, conviction to, or feel compelled to which ones they like the most. And I say those things because that's what makes showing livestock fun. And as we get out here, that's ultimately what I'm going to do. I'm going to side with the hogs that came out and hit me hard. I personally have a process, and I'm very excited to see what the final lineup looks like because with our numbers today and the quality of hogs, I hope that I can construct and put together a group of hogs that mirror the same look whenever we get out here this afternoon in the grand drive. And so as we get out here with our 4 class winners, I feel very, very confident these are ones that suit me the best, and try to keep hogs opened up and keep them good in terms of their muscularity, make sure they're square built, and at the same time try to balance them the best I possibly can in regards to making everything fit together from the side. And so we get out here, and I think it gets close amongst a couple of them. I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be like whenever they got back out to the ring. And so as we get out here, I think it's close. I try to take him in once again from all viewpoints and try to find the ones that suit me best. And so with that, I'm going to put down the microphone and get us one here in a second. But with that, the one that I'm going to ultimately side with, I think, is the most consistent in driving at me and driving away. Freshly presented hog. That skeleton is very, very good. I like the fact that this one's tuning up high, lower body feels correct, and I like this one's skeleton and the way its joint works aligned. And then we'll get a second place out, but I feel like for reserve, we're going to have one that pushes our champion really closely. Maybe not quite as good in just driving directly at us, or quite just laid back in the angulation to our blade, but a nice group from top to bottom, if you will. Put your hand champion, and then look at him once again for reserve.
Your champion Duroc belongs to Briston Birdwell, Marion FFA. Congratulations. We'll now judge for reserve. And your reserve, Duroc, belongs to Cross Kelso, Marion FFA. Congratulations. We will now start our Hampshire. Starting off with Class 1, Hampshire pigs. They'll be entering the ring now. Attention to the barn. We're going to go ahead and do the whole Hamp class, pick a champion, reserve champion. Then we will break for lunch for about 45 minutes. After lunch, we will do Yorkshires and crossbred pigs after that, along with a champion and showmanship. So don't go too far. If you have a Yorkshire or a crossbred pig, we'll try to resume again in 45 minutes once we judge the champion Hamp. Don't forget to turn in your placing cards, sale cards that is, either here at the desk or at the office. Also, if you're going to sell, you need to have a picture of your animal taken, hopefully on the way out of the ring, but make sure you get that done. Showmanship sign-up sheet is up here at the desk as well. Make sure we get that. If you're going to participate in showmanship today, you will be shown in your appropriate age group. We'll divide that, I believe, 3, maybe 4 age groups, depending on how many sign up. Again, sign up for showmanship. You must be signed up in order to participate after the judging of the Grand and Reserve Grand Champion pigs. anyone wanting to go ahead and sell their pig here at the show, as far as a pig that you're not going to go forth with any other shows with, Mike Friesenhahn will have a trailer in back. He will be buying the pigs at 40 cents a pound. If you want to get rid of your project today, he will have the trailer in there at the end of the show today. Thank you.
I've yet to place the pair that we have out in the ring, and I felt like the lightweight hamp class was extremely deep, and these were honestly two of the first hogs that came in the ring, and trying to pin up the ones that satisfied some of the things I'm trying to do today. I maybe didn't pin up our top four in the order of which it whittles down here at the end, and I'll say that open-mindedly and be very transparent with that, because I know that I personally went a little bit out of order of how I did that. I think this pair is very different, and as a show judge, I have to be able to feel comfortable in what I do and make sure that I do what I'm, I guess you could say, convicted to, as I mentioned earlier. And so to describe the hogs before we place them, the bear here on the far side, that hog came in, and right away you can read that one as an opened up, wide skeleton, stout structured hog that still maintains squareness of build extremely good. I get a little hard on him whenever I back off from a distance. He'll get a little easy in his top line, and then maybe doesn't blend together quite as good from a balance standpoint. When I get right up close to him and I just study him, I wish I could make him and just tweak him ever so slightly in the way his rear feet hit the shavings today in his hock placement. But whenever I also stand back, I see a stout-featured, mobile, productive type of hog who's muscular, and I do want to tweak him in the area too. That's how I see that bear. The gilt that we also have out here, this is one that gives you a tall-fronted, really nice look there from the side. She's a gilt that has really good shape and muscularity, a really stout forearmed hog, and I really love that initial impression that she offers whenever she drives at me, and then whenever I study her from a distance. And it's pretty easy to see, and I know that everyone maybe sits on a little bit differently. That gilt's hind leg and the way she travels, everything is trying to go east and west instead of north and south. And personally, I want to change that about that gilt, and I know that sounds very critical, but whenever we get in behind her, I see her put her hind leg and her rear foot too far outside of herself. So ultimately, I side with the squareness of the young man's bear right here to be our class winner. Although I do want to make him better in his top line, blend him nicer in his ham-loin junction. I feel like that bear is one who's constructed better through his front skeleton and his blade than our hogs that are going to be 3 and 4. And I think that individual drives away just a bit better than our Gilton 2. The Gilton 2, honestly, was my class winner for quite a bit of time in this particular lineup. Just as I go to the microphone and I think about what I try to prioritize, I have to change the way she drives away from me, young lady, but a very nice gilt there. Young man does a great job with this hawk here that's going to be in 3. When you study him from above, this one's as impressive as any. Big and bold-bladed, great in the shape and the turn he has back over his loin edge. Whenever I stand back, this bear gets a little straighter in his blade. He doesn't tie his fronting together quite as nicely. And I wish I could level him out there in terms of making him a little taller fronted and a little leveler from the side, but a really nice hog there that I wish we could balance just a bit differently. This hog here in 4 is a little bit different. He drives at me a little softer on his front feet, a little frailer in his forearm, and then he drives away with a really big, bold pin set and a really stout hind leg. And so that hog, in my opinion, is a tale of 2 stories, if you will. But a lot like the hog that we have here in 3rd, whenever we study him driving from a distance, that hog gets a little straighter bladed, a little lower fronted. Didn't think he balanced like the initial pair. A really nice group from top to bottom. A lot of trade-offs there in our top end. If you would put your hands together for our lightweight Hampshire exhibitors. Doing a great job here as we work into a really tough division.
Thank you, Judge. Placings in our first class of hams. 8th place, Luke Vogel, Navarro FFA. In 7th place is Cade Kurz, Marion FFA. 6th place is Hayden Warrendale, Navarro FFA. 5th place be Urban Wilkes, Navarro 4H. 4th place is Caden Gemler, Marion FFA. In 3rd place is Banner Wilkes, Navarro 4H. And 2nd place is Emma Smith, New Berlin 4H. And your class winner is Taylor Brawley, Seguin FFA. Taylor will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders Award of $100 bump check. And that breeder was Doug Alderson, Alderson Farms. Congratulations. Coming into the ring now, we have Class 2. Hampshires, we got 9 entries. We'll be placing 7. Again, a reminder, after the judging of the champion, Hampshire, we will break for lunch for about 45 minutes. After lunch, we'll be doing your York. and also your crossbreds.
a fun class to work through, and throughout the day we've had some that were a bit more difficult to align. I'm not going to say this one's easy, but in this show judge's opinion, things just make sense as you work down the line. In my opinion, our hogs in 1 and 2 are a little bit stouter featured, and with that have just a little bit of a stouter, more powerful look to them. Then does a really good balance, good profiling third place hog. But ultimately, the young lady's gilt that's going to win this class, I think, comes out and honestly makes it a pretty easy decision for me. I like this gilt's balance from the side. She's an extended hog that reads really good ahead of her blade. You study that one from above. She's awesome in her blade shape, and as she transitions from there back, awesome there. And then with that, I think that gilt leaves you big and powerful, yet still square. I think that one best combines the things I'm after in regards to making sure they're a genuine market hog and then still balancing with the right kind of proportionality there from the side. The hog here in second, every once in a while, he'll want to be just a little slower out here, and I think he is just a shot more hesitant there off his front skeleton. Maybe not quite as good in the way he just picks him up and goes each time. With that up ahead of his blade, I read him just a little chunkier there through his neck and through his jawline. With that being said, from there back, that's a bold-bodied, productive hog who's really good in his topside spread. Whenever you study first and second from the side, I think this bear gets just a little bit more compact and doesn't balance there like our class winner. Very fresh hog that's opened up. I like his extra stoutness and his heaviness of structure better than her hog here in third. This hog in third is very loose structured. I love his mobility and his flexibility. I prefer his pastern strength and his squareness of build over our very dimensional fourth place hog. This hog gets a bit more fragile in terms of his framework, but from the side, I love his extension, height to shoulder, and levelness. Out here in this judge's opinion, just to make him stouter and more powerful. If you're after making him just really wide and muscular, our fourth place hog might be the one you prefer there. I read him to be a hog that's a little bit quicker in his maturity pattern. With that, we're softer on our front feet, and then from behind, we're pushing the limits. And depending on where you sit on that, he can have some float in this class. Love his muscularity and his product. I got to make that hog bigger in his kind and square in his build to move up. But a really good class. Young man did a really good job with that bear. He got the most out of him. A really good one from top to bottom. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Thank you, Judge. Results in Hamps Class 2. 7th place is Avery Franklin, Seguin FFA. 6th place is Carly Hoffman, Clemens FFA. 5th place is Emma Linsman, Marion FFA. 4th place is Matthew Rodriguez, Steele FFA. 3rd place is Cameron Mauricio, Clemens 4-H. 2nd place is Hannah Kaiser, New Berlin 4-H. And our class winner is Emily Pompa, Clemens FFA. Emily will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders Bunk Check. MT Hart Livestock is the breeder. Congratulations. We're now entering our Hamps Class 3. We have 12 entries. We'll be placing 9.